Nelia, thank you so much for your time and for joining me again. I'm happy to see you. Had a lot of good feedback from the last interview we did. How are you doing so far?
I'm doing pretty well, preparing for Christmas holidays in a good mood. Finally, 2020 will end.
Yes.
Hope for the best in the next year.
Yeah, same here, but I hope so too. It's been kind of tough, I think, on everybody, but of course, you have to learn to adapt somehow. Listen, you've been mentioning that you've been doing a lot of work and stuff. And I last time I talked to you, you said you have a lot of 10 to 12 hour days. So my question is, how do you personally find the time to relax and shut off? And do you relax and shut off? Because me personally, for example, I unfortunately still have it set up where I get emails on my phone. So constantly, oh, a client asked me this. I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be meditating right now, but I don't manage that. How do you do that?
Of course, I do relax sometimes, and actually, I do the internet detox. This is the day or maybe some few hours of shutting down the internet in the house, or maybe deleting your applications on the phone.
Mhm.
I mean mailing applications and all working chats, so you can install them later and then everything will be synchronized, but you will be safe for that hours.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
will not connect to any internet and you will don't receive any messages. And of course, I believe that I should do that every month, let's say, because for me it's quite easy to work from month to month with a 1 day of full relax, for example, because I know that I'm not working 24 by 7. I'm working from month to month with a day of relax.
So do you also like try to work ahead, like for example, if you have a deadline, do you try to work ahead of that deadline so you can kind of put the brakes on later and relax as well? Does that help too?
Yeah, that helps, and actually managing your time properly before the deadline come, it always helps to everyone. So yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Do you ever go like to a spa or anything like that? I mean, I've tried going to a spa, but unfortunately, I still think, I need to finish that customer report. What about you? What
that,
do you
that
do?
happens to me as well. That happens to me all the time. But spa is more like physical relax and massage as well.
Mm,
So I try to do it regularly. Of course, I'm thinking about work during that time, but
yeah,
still,
yeah.
the best time for me is with my family. So they catch up all my attention, and then I don't think about work.
That's good. That's good. And speaking of family and work, how are you taking the lockdown so far with Corona? First with family, like how are you doing it with them, and also with work?
Everything is pretty good here. Actually, we can visit our relatives now, even in other cities. Me and my husband are working from home, and we are still together.
Yeah.
We survived. We go out really rare recently for walking with our dog, I guess, and that's it. But it works for us.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's also very important. Same with me. I do come to the co-working space still, but for the most part, I've been spending a lot of time with the kids and everything. So other than when I need to come here, for example, to do interviews and record, I try to stay home. But yeah, you learn to adapt, I guess you can say. And how's things with work? Because your work is based on being virtual, anyways, right? I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
so when you supply teams for your clients too? So has much changed at all in that aspect?
Actually, no. And it was quite easy to transfer our company from office work to remote work. We adopted the processes, and still, you're right. We are working online, so basically nothing changed except of 1 hour in the morning coming to the office and 1 hour then back in the evening. And most of people are happy with the remote work.
Now, I'm going to get back to you because I have a question when it comes to management in a remote environment. But another thing I would like to ask you, and this is more of a personal question, and based on my experience myself too. But Do you find ever that some CEOs or business people that make the business decisions don't take you seriously? And if yes, do you think it's because of your age or gender or any of those aspects?
So yep, he asked me. He told me that I am even younger than his granddaughter is,
Mhm.
and I told him that it's not the obstacle for me for making my business and being entrepreneur. And we had a meeting then, and yeah, we finished without the next steps. Right now I'm thinking that it's more about age and more about stereotypes, because when the person is working in the enterprise level company, um, he or she believe that it's impossible to come to the top management level without the experience of many years. So probably that's why it was such a surprising situation for him and for me as well. But yeah, it happens. I don't take it serious, so I just say, okay, let's talk, and then we decide is the age or the gender deciding on our business or not.
Hmm. It's really interesting that you say that because you mentioned you worked also a lot with startups, so I'm sure a lot of those folks are our age anyways. So I can't imagine that's always the age thing with them, but I can imagine with other, let's say, target groups it is. And it's interesting you say that because too, when I first started, let's say, digital marketing, and I didn't have a defined a target market, I was approaching like really, really older people, and I felt like I could give them the best information and have like all the evidence to back it up, but they still wouldn't take me seriously. And then you see like months later, the things happen that that I said would happen. So I felt often that age is yeah, could sometimes be an issue, but I have to say too, I can't be a hypocrite because when I see these like 19, 20-year-old kids on YouTube ads telling us how to make $6 million, I'm not really gonna waste my time listening to what they have to say either. So yeah, it's kind of like yeah, I would say these experience make me want to be more aware when I do get older and I have some young cat coming to the office, men or women, saying to me, "Hey, Garrett, you need to change this and this," and it makes me question: Will I be open to that? Will I be open to change? Will I not be like that? How do you feel about that too? Is that the same way you look at it?
I would like to stay open for ages because I believe that new generations after, let's say, after 2000, they received the internet um, from their childhood. So they received access to any information in the world, and they consume this information much faster than we do, and they analyze it a bit different. So actually, I would like to stay open to their proposals all the time, because I understand that I'm getting older, and maybe they know something better than me because they analyze it different, they see it different.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Now, speaking about clients, what are some of the things that you love about working on with clients together? Is it, working on different projects and having challenges, new challenges that bring you to the next level mentally, or, what's your thing on that?
What I like the most about working with clients in software development is that I'm working with very, very different clients from any industry. For example, we work with some clients from banking, some from agriculture, and I can learn from them how their industry work. And I enjoy it because I always wanted to know how everything works from my childhood. For example, my last favorite project was about grapes harvesting. I
Hmm.
enjoy wine, and I loved to learn a lot about this industry, all the tricks, all the features they need to have in this harvesting machines. And we did the software for it. So I got to know a lot of information about that, and I would never have a chance if I don't work with software development. So basically, this is software development is opening the doors to any industry. So yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially like also it's a good thing because you have experience in that industry. So when you have the next client, it helps you be able to say you can talk the talk a little bit because you have that same understanding. So I can see why that's good. Now, what is your opinion on managing a team? What do you like about managing the team, and what are some challenges of managing a team?
Oh, of course, there are challenges every time, all the time. Management a team for me is exhausting and exciting at the same time. So what I do like is the time when the team comes to the performing stage. You know, there are some stages of team development, and when they are at the performing stage, they don't need a manager anymore. So you just grew them up from the beginning, and after that they don't need you anymore, so you can focus on something else more interesting, let's say.
Yeah,
Yeah, so actually this is the like a, give a birth to a child when you
yeah.
have the team which is working alone.
So just hearing you talk, I can tell you're not a person who likes to micromanage. Then, am I right in guessing that?
Yeah, I don't like to micromanage at all. For me it's waste of time. So basically it's not the type of management that I used to work with, but at some stages some teams do require to a kind of micromanagement, so it depends on the stage. But I deserve to work with performing teams.
Yeah, 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 of course. I just find that really interesting because, for my next question, especially, I see that's a big mistake that a lot of new managers or CEOs make is the micromanaging. For me personally, too, I don't believe in micromanagement. I don't. I'm more like, okay, I trust you. You're going to produce the result, and then after that, we'll see. But if it's something where I've had my hands on for so long, let's say, for example, running ads, I've run them myself for so long. I don't feel comfortable giving that up just yet because I'm just like, oh, that's, you know what I mean. But I try to give as much space as possible because I think that allows the team to perform as good as possible. So it's really good to hear you say that, and that's what's going to move on to my next question. What I'm going to use to move on to my next question is, what are some tips you have for new managers, team managers, or CEOs that are new to managing a team?
Okay, maybe not for CEOs because probably they have already had the chance to manage someone. But for those who are starting managing teams, I would like to suggest to read about stages of team forming. So they start from forming, then they have the stage of storming, norming, and performing. And on these stages you need to use different styles of management. So actually micromanagement is not that bad, because in some stage the team requires for you to manage them, to micromanage them.
Mm.
And after that, when the team change and comes to another stage, you need to use another type of management. So basically just go to the internet, read about that, and that will help you a lot.
Do you find that you still have a lot of hands-on work compared to when you first started, the company? Like, I guess you could say, do you still lay the bricks?
Right now it's better. But all the time I try to test new ideas, new business models, some new projects, and that's why I'm still having some hands-on work. But actually it gets better as soon as you delegate and grow.
Mm.
But I do have some small projects which I cover by my own. So, and I enjoy it. So, yeah, sometimes I do have it. Sometimes I delegate, and it's better to delegate.
Yeah, I agree 100%. But I have that fear sometimes that if I delegate too much, that I'll get out of touch, because, for example, your industry is very similar to mine in the fact that things change so quickly. What you learned 6 months ago, it does not apply to today. Do you also have fear that you could, let's say, ever be out of touch?
Um, I have that feeling sometime, but then I come to my team leads and spend an hour on conversation with them, and it gets me back to the reality.
Mm.
So that's my tip. If you feel like that, you need to talk to your team, let's say team leads, and understand what's going on. But basically, of course, I do have this feeling.
Yeah, it's the same with me, and I know you too. You're quite hands-on when it comes to client acquisition, and I know you have a team that focuses on that too. But I know you're also part of the funnel. You're also part of the process. And one of the questions I have for your industry is specifically is what are some of the best practices you can share with us when it comes to qualifying a new client?
Okay, for me, is to get to know more about the client and who are the clients of your client,
Mm,
and who are the partners of your client, and who are working for your client. So let's say if the client has some senior level of people in team or junior level of people in the team, and how do they build their corporate structure. It shows you a lot about your client, and I would suggest to go through that before you start working.
yeah, but that's a good point. But what also are some, like, let's say, behavioral things that you don't have to say directly because you don't have to give me your secrets to your personal client qualifications. But do you guys have like a set of red flags and then like a set of green flags where you say, okay, this is good, or you have the other flag, like I said, the red flags where you say, maybe we should not acquire this person even though they're willing to work with us. Do you guys have that as well?
Yeah, of course we do. We have the due diligence process, and we do that, of course, because we had some issues in the last years. So, of course, we do that. We learn from our mistake, and I suggest to do the same for all companies.
Yeah, I mean, it's just interesting because, you built this company from the ground up as well. And I found too in my beginning stages, say 2, 3 years ago, I ignored a lot of red flags because I was just so happy to get client.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that feeling. And as I guess it came with the developmental phase of business or my business that I started saying, okay, that's a red flag. For example, in the marketing business, it's more, I guess you could say when they focus on budget too much more than the result, which don't get me wrong, I don't want people spending a lot of money when they're marketing. It needs to be efficient as possible. But if they focus on that point more so than, yeah, they focus too much on that more so than the outcome. um, I could imagine with the software development field, you guys have that. With you guys, it's probably speed, if I'm right, right? Could it be like you guys have clients that expect it to be, hey, in a week, we need this app developed or something like that?
Yeah, of course. Sometimes it happens that the clients require something that is not possible at all
Mm.
to create in the time frame they want to do that. So we negotiate, and if they agree with the negotiation, or during the negotiation, we continue work. If they don't believe us, they don't understand how long does it take to create the software, we just say, okay, we can't work with you because it's impossible. So basically what we suggest is some kind of prototypes, and it happens that clients agree with that. So we create the prototype first, and then we create the full version. But yeah, it happens that we don't continue work with the client because of these misunderstandings.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Misunderstandings. I get you completely. Also, another question I have for you: what are some skills that you would like to improve for yourself? Like, are there any skills that we touched already? Fear of being out of touch, but what are some specific skills that you'd like to improve a bit better, or you'd like to learn, for example?
Some specific skills.
Hmm.
Okay, maybe some financial predictions.
Yeah, I think everybody wants to learn that. As soon as you learn that, you'll definitely be hearing from
I had a chance in the university, but I skipped that course, and now I'm a bit jealous about that for people who made this course.
me.
So maybe I need to get back and do that.
Well, look at it this way. At least you're in the right industry, right? I mean,
Yep.
that's a good thing. I mean, when I look here on the street, even here, like Friedrichshafen is one of the richest cities in Germany, and it's crazy. You see a lot of stores going out of business because people didn't make those predictions ahead of time about where business can go. So at least you already got, let's say, one foot on land, so to speak, with getting that going.
Yeah, of course, but you need to keep up with the time all the time because it changed. It
Mhm.
changes, so we need to all analyze everything very quickly and adapt. So it may change soon.
Yeah, but like you said, adapt. That's the thing. You have to adapt, and that's really, really important. And speaking of which, what are some of your scaling plans for your company in the future? Would you like to have like more offices or more locations globally?
Yeah, we've had the strategic meeting already, and what we thought is that we don't have any limitations of scaling right now because we are working remotely, and we would like to continue working remotely.
Hmm.
Basically, we have some plans for growing as a remote company, so we will staff some people in other countries. We do have, but right now we are more focused on eastern part of Europe, and we have a plan to grow to 1,000 people till 2023.
Hmm.
And basically, that would be even easier when we don't have borders and we don't have. Okay, we will have some kind of offices, but still no borders and no limitations.
Yeah, so you also, when it comes to like offices, for example, you don't want to have like, say, a high rise, building or anything like that. You want to keep it simple but efficient.
Yeah, we've been thinking of kind of co-working uh, when um, when you can share it with other companies, and also you can have your employees there when they need it, because some of people do work in the office for, let's say, 1 day per week when they need to complete some tasks. So basically they can use the co-working without their place in the office.
That's really funny you say that because most of the companies in my co-working, I mean, I know most of the time we've done, when we did the interview, there's like two people here, but this time there's not any. But a lot of companies, they use co-working. And I think, to be quite honest with you, it's the best use of space because when I think about like when I drive through here, for example, there's a lot of offices that are renting. They're putting up signs like, hey, come rent from us. And I think too, like, my business is also digital. The people I have who work for me are also freelancers. I can't really imagine having to buy like a huge office space, like let's say two-story office space or something. I think, to be honest with you, it could be that businesses with that model are slowly dying out. And I think, yeah, I think co-working is very efficient. Do you, when it comes back to the scaling thing and hiring people in other countries, if someone, for example, from the States were to apply for your company, what do they need to know? Do they need to also come in person to do an interview? How do you conduct something like that? I know we're thinking a bit further in advance, but I'd be just curious based on the point of your business being virtual and stuff like that. On a theoretical situation, how would someone go about doing that?
We do not have face-to-face interviews during quarantine, and I guess we will continue like this. So basically, the person will have several interviews online, and that's it. Some documents and the laptop will be sent by delivery service, so no problem with that.
Yeah, it seems like to me you have a lot of trust, so that's a good thing. And I think a lot of companies can learn from that. The trust is a big thing, and it seems like you guys have that in your business model, and also it helps people be a lot more productive, I think. So but anyways, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. I know you're getting busy, and I just want to be, the person who could say I interviewed you before you became famous. So
Thanks.
before you're featured in Forbes or anything like that. So
Thanks, Garrett.
thanks a lot, and I look forward to hearing from you again. Keep us updated with your
Thank you for
progress.
having me.
It's
Thank you.
been a pleasure.